What is going on, guys? It is Jacob back on my video today, and today what we're going to be doing is something quite different than what we usually do. So I know I don't usually do a lot of NHL stuff on my channel, but I kind of want to get into the habit and doing it because I feel like it's a really popular thing to do on channels, and me being a big hockey fan and loving hockey as much as I do, I think it'd be a great idea to start making hockey videos on my channel. So today, what I found out, what I thought of an idea to do finally, because I haven't recorded in a while, I was going to do the NHL, my NHL 2018-2019 playoff predictions. And that is just my opinion, so if whoever's watching this video don't agree with me at all, or some of them do agree, just don't crap on me in the comments. I mean, it's on you. If you guys want to crap on me, then go, but I'm just please asking you to not do that in that comments, because once again, this is my opinion, and there's a lot of videos being posted about the bracket challenge. That's all their opinions, and I've seen a bunch of them, and I don't necessarily agree with their predictions either. So, but I'm not gonna crap on them in the comments. But if you guys do end up enjoying this video, just make sure to leave a like and leave a comment on which video you think I could do next on hockey-related things or anything. So I'm pretty good with hockey statistics. I don't know. I think my prediction could be pretty good, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy, and let's just get straight into it. So let's just do an F11 so we can put this all in full screen. So starting in the Western Division, we have Calgary, Colorado, first round. San Jose Sharks and Vegas, a big matchup once again this year. Nashville and Dallas, that's probably going to be a big one. And Winnipeg and St. Louis. So Winnipeg and St. Louis is probably going to be a really good matchup. Dallas and Nashville also. And Vegas and San Jose, you already know that San Jose lost to Vegas last year in the second round. So San Jose is not going to be going in and letting Vegas win this year. They're going to try their hardest and possibly win. Calgary in the playoffs finally, and Colorado makes the playoffs from a wild card 2 spot, just barely made it. They had Arizona creeping up on them, and then they finally clinched, and now they are in a playoff spot. In the Eastern Division, we have Tampa Bay, who is red hot this year. Nobody's getting past them. They were first since the beginning of the league, since the beginning of the season. They were first. They were first place for almost the entire season, for about, 70 games. They were first place. They stayed first, and they were about 30 points ahead of any team in the NHL. The closest team to them was Boston Bruins, and they had 103 points, if I remember correctly, and Tampa had 126 or something like that. I can't really remember at the top of my head, but Tampa is unstoppable, and I don't know how they're going to do, but my prediction are going to be starting soon. And Boston and Toronto, another matchup once again this year. But Toronto having Tavares on their team, this could be a really close matchup this year. And yeah, we have Capitals once again in the playoff spot. Carolina Hurricanes finally made the playoffs. Since 2009 was the last playoff meet. And yeah, so also New York Islanders and Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Pittsburgh once again, and New York Islanders finally made the playoffs once again. It's been quite a while since they made playoffs, so it's nice to see them in there. And wow, Barry Trotz just brought this team up, and he's probably going to win Coach of the Year. Anyways, so we're going to start off in the Western Division. We're going to start off with Calgary and Colorado. So this, I feel, is going to be a really close matchup. Calgary being, I'm not going to say anything mean things, but Calgary, if you know their history in playoffs, they're a bunch of chokers. So they don't really, they're a good team, but this year I honestly think that Colorado could have a a possibility in winning. But my guess is Calgary's going to win in 7. So that's my guess. So Calgary's going to move on to the second round. Next up, we have San Jose and Vegas. This year, I think San Jose is just, they're going to be unstoppable. And they're going to do good. But Vegas, having a really good year till the end of the season, they kind of slowed down a bit. But they are still a really good team, having their second year in the NHL and making playoffs already. So, but this year, I think San Jose is going to beat Vegas in a 6 because last year Vegas beat them. So San Jose is going to get the revenge, and it's going to be San Jose and Calgary in the second round. Nashville and Dallas. This, I think, is going to be a really close matchup. To be honest with you, I honestly think Dallas could have a big opportunity in the playoffs if they make it past the first round. But Nashville just being such a strong team, and it's just really hard for them to get stopped by anybody. So my guess is Nashville is going to beat them in 6. So Dallas is going to come up with 2 wins, but Nashville is just going to beat them in 6. So that's my guess. So Nashville moving on to the second round. Winnipeg and St. Louis. So Winnipeg lately, as of yet, haven't been so good. They had a good year, but I mean, their team is all over the place. Like, they're really good and then they're really bad, but Winnipeg just, they haven't really been able to beat the really good teams, and they were able to make playoffs with a lot of points. But to be honest with you, St. Louis started at the bottom of the league, and they clinched with almost 10 games remaining. So St. Louis, I honestly think, is going to take this first round and beat Winnipeg in 7. That's my prediction. Once again, it's my prediction. And yeah. So going over to the East Conference, we have Tampa Bay and Columbus. So Tampa being as strong as they are, Columbus, I mean, I know they've never got past the first round ever. I know it's sad, but Tampa's just unstoppable this year, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to get past them. Even if there's no way, this is my prediction, there's no way they're going to beat them. Columbus is going to beat Tampa. So Tampa's going to beat Columbus in the Game 5. Columbus is going to sneak one game there, and that's honestly it. I think they're just going to completely win. Boston and Toronto. So this is going to be a big matchup. Everybody knows that they made it to Game 7 last year without Tavares, but Boston was able to win. So Toronto and Boston. This is going to be a really close matchup, and I don't know. I don't think this is going to go to another Game 7. I think Toronto having the advantage and having Tavares. I don't really know how Tavares is in playoffs, but apparently he's not so good. He could be quite of a choker. But they have an amazing goaltender, but Toronto doesn't have any defense. They're all forwards. So if they go in the playoffs without defense, I don't think they're gonna go anywhere. So this is my opinion. Boston is gonna beat Toronto in 5, and yeah, I don't think this is gonna go to a Game 7. So Boston and Tampa in the second round. Right here we have Washington and Carolina. Carolina finally making a playoffs since 2009. So it's been almost 10 years, or exactly 10 years since they made the playoffs. So Washington, they're trying to defend their Stanley Cup ring, but to be honest with you, Carolina are really strong, and I think they could have a big opportunity on winning. So to be honest, I think Carolina is going to beat Washington in 7. And yeah, once again, this is my opinion. So Washington could beat them in 4 for all what we know. But to be honest with you, I feel like Carolina is going to beat them in 7. Islanders and Pittsburgh. So this is going to be another one of those matchups. But to be honest with you, Islanders with Barry Trotz, I think Islanders are going to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in Game 6. It's just Islanders are so good this year, and look, they're so much better than they were with Tavares. So This is just, honestly, I think Islanders are going to win versus Pittsburgh in 6. So, once again, my opinion. So, back to the Western Division, round 2. We have the Calgary Flames and San Jose Sharks. So, I honestly think that the Calgary Flames are not, like, they're a good team, but I don't think they're going to make it past the second round since they're playing San Jose. So I think San Jose is going to get past the second round and beat Calgary in Game 6. And San Jose is going to go to the Western Conference Final. Right here we have Nashville and St. Louis. So Nashville is really good, and St. Louis started from the bottom of the league at the beginning of the season, and they clinched with almost 10 games remaining. So they are really strong, and the end of their season was amazing. They played amazingly, and surprisingly, they made the playoffs, when at the beginning of the season, nobody thought they'd make playoffs. So, to be honest with you, I think St. Louis is going to beat Nashville in 7, because St. Louis is just so good, and Nashville is a good team as well, but St. Louis, I think, is just gonna beat Nashville in Game 7. All right, so now we have the second round in the Eastern Conference Final. We have Tampa Bay and Boston. So a lot of you are not gonna like my opinion, but to be honest with you, I think Boston is gonna beat Tampa this year, and I think they're gonna beat them in 7, and it's gonna be one of the biggest playoff second rounds like ever. Boston being so strong this year and Tampa being really strong this year, I just think Boston is somehow going to beat Tampa in 7. So I don't know. I hope this happens, because to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing Boston win the cup, and it'd be kind of cool. But now we have the Islanders and the Hurricanes. So Islanders having Barry Trotz, and you know how Barry Trotz is, and one of the best coaches in the league. I think that the Islanders will beat Carolina in 5, and they will move on to the Eastern Conference Final versus Boston. Now we have the San Jose Sharks and the St. Louis Blues. So St. Louis Blues will, I think, beat San Jose in 6. And yeah, and I honestly think St. Louis is going to have a big opportunity in winning that series, and I think they're going to win it in 6 versus the San Jose Sharks. So St. Louis is going to make it to the Stanley Cup Final versus either Boston or the Islanders. So Boston being in the conference final, I think that they will beat the Islanders in the Game 7, having a really close matchup. And yeah, as I was saying, Barry Trotz, really good coach. But I just think Boston is going to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. And I really don't know why, but I think they're really strong this year, and I think they have a good opportunity in making the Stanley Cup Final. So now we have St. Louis and the Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup Final. Now this is going to be a big matchup, and I could already tell you that this is going to be crazy. So St. Louis having a tremendous season and having an amazing season. Also Boston having an amazing season. But to be honest with you, I think the Stanley Cup champions of 2019 will be the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues will get their first ever Stanley Cup, and they will beat Boston in Game 6. They will win the Stanley Cup, and I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. They're going to score, I'm just going to say a random number, 16 goals in the Stanley Cup Final versus Boston. They're going to score 16 goals with Boston, and it's going to be a really close matchup, but I honestly think that the St. Louis Blues will win the 2019 Stanley Cup and will finally have their rings and their hats and be able to hold up that Stanley Cup named after Lord Stanley. But yeah, that's my playoff predictions, guys, and whoops. Did I not put the games in? It doesn't let me put the games in, but whatever. This is my Stanley Cup playoff predictions of 2018-2019. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope a lot of you may have agreed with me, or if you guys didn't agree with me, once again, my opinion, and yep, just hope you guys did enjoy. Bye.